This is Trophy, Roots of Old Kalduhr, Part 4. We have the whole gang here, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on. So basically, six members of the party went down into the streets of Old Kalduhr, aided by Alina and Osto. What we decided is that Alina stayed on the other side of the lake, and Osto was on the far side of the lake and did the mechanism to get everybody across. I have a way of getting you across as well, Alina, which we'll talk about in a bit. But for now, you're going to be separated from the group for a little bit. You're going to have to like find them, or you can just go off and do your own thing, I suppose. If you and Osto want to go do your own thing. So that's sort of where Alina and Osto are. Rob, you had dropped out. You had to bolt near the end of the session last time, and so what I decided was that Torum decided to follow Gon because remember Gon slipped off away from the group to go investigate something, and I decided that Torum went to go check up on Gon. So Torum is no longer in the orphan's villa. Neither is Gon. And then Cassian and Berwin. Berwin is currently a big flesh wall bisecting the main central room of the orphan's villa, keeping one of the creepy wardens on one side, so Cassian can search the two rooms that are not bisected by the Berwin flesh wall, and so that's what's going on. That turtle warden is kind of just sitting down dejectedly near the flesh wall, and we don't really know what's going on there, but that's just what we saw last. Cassian went into the administrative office, found a really interesting clue, treasure. It's unclear what it is, but it's something that needs to be deciphered. And then was attacked by the rooster warden who burst out of the wardrobe, rang the bell, the third chime of the bell. And that is where we're picking up immediately there with Cassian. So Berwin and Cassian are a little bit split. Torum and Alina are fully split from the party right now. I do want to pick up at that moment, Cassian. You've got to combat this warden. So, what's your weakness right now? Just the element of surprise, I suppose, or
Yeah, that feels like a good. He was not expecting something in the wardrobe,
yeah.
so that's a 3 weak point.
Okay, weak point of 3. Fantastic. And he is an endurance 7. I suppose, did Lotak come with you? Do you want Lotak to join the fight?
He was looking in the cupboards out in the entry room.
He
So,
was. I did. Well, he found what he found, though, right? He found that cloak.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
So if you want him to be there, he can be. So you can maybe take care of this thing in one round. But I'll let you decide. If so, I need to roll a
yeah,
weak point for him as well.
yeah. We'll give it a shot. Maybe he'll feel brave.
His weak point is 2. So same vulnerability. You're both just taken by surprise. Probably you're taken by surprise because the whole time you're looking at that paper and looking under the bed, Lotak is just going on like he does about things, kind of expounding on the situation very self-importantly. I'm not sure why you brought this guy. He and Alina are like in a foot race to be the most irritating party members, I think. So we'll see who wins ultimately. But so let's have this roll. Go ahead and roll combat 2.
That's a 3, and I hit the 2.
You did hit the 2. Lotak does not get hit, but rather the guy just rings the bell again. Ding! You feel that weird shifting again. Every time he rings it, you feel like you're falling back a little bit more. When it's rung twice now, and you can feel your whole like kind of body vibrating. Maybe most importantly, Alina and Torum, as well as your hirelings, you also feel it. When that fourth chime is struck, you all have this like momentary sensation of sinking or falling, like you're falling into the sunken place. You come right back out of it, but you can feel it. Torum, you know what it's coming from. You might even be close enough to still hear the chime. Alina, you have no idea what it's coming from. But I do want to pick up here. Cassian, do you want to go another round?
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Combat
Combat
3,
3.
looking for 7 on the 2 highest dice.
Am I too far away to?
You are too far
Oh,
away.
okay.
Yeah, and I'm imagining it'll take some time to reconstitute your body a little bit too. So, four and a two and a two. Not great. Not great. Give me the combat. Why is this going so badly? What's happening? I imagine that he's actually not attacking you. He's like scampering out of your way and ringing the bell, right?
Yeah, I think Cassian's trying to pin him against the wall with the sword, try and limit his range of movement, but the he's faster than the previous wardens that we've encountered, and I think at this point Cassian's going to yell out for could use a bit of assistance in here.
Berwin, if you start moving, you're almost certainly going to get the attention of the Turtle Warden. What do you do?
Um, yeah, I mean that's tough because if I move, I reconstitute, and then it's two wardens we're facing off against. So I think I'm gonna try and engage with this warden that I'm with the tortoise warden,
Mm,
so that if when I can reconstitute, we're not like having to deal with two at the same time.
so what do you do?
I'm going to use a ritual, um, and I would like to use my whale ritual to disorient him.
Oh, I like that. I think that's pretty good. Actually, what I'd like to suggest that happens is if you do the whale ritual, you can actually absorb and deafen the chiming of the fifth bell, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm into that.
Which I think would be great. And in this moment, and if you can keep wailing, you can maybe keep a protective sound
I'll
barrier.
be the wailing wall.
Right, yeah, exactly. We're the wailing wall indeed. Uh, Amanda, what could go wrong here?
I actually stepped away, so I
Oh,
missed some
okay,
of
never
that.
mind. Rob, what could go wrong here?
you know, something along the lines of it absorbing all sound rather than just the sound of the bell.
Oh, that's pretty good. I even
My
like that as a devil's
silencing.
bargain. Yeah, I think that'd be a good
Yeah,
devil's
yeah,
bargain
that
too.
feels like more of a devil's bargain. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be I can imagine a fail state and a devil's bargain state, so I think it's okay. We'll keep going though. Do you have a die that's going to help you get that first, or you have an equipment or skill that'll help you with
I've
that
got
first one?
rituals.
Fantastic. And I think that will help you just kind of do it on the fly, right? Um, this is really interesting. I will say that no matter what, you deafen all sound.
Um, yeah, I'll take it.
You've got two light dice. You have to do a dark die. I'm going to check your conditions too. This feels like a condition kind of situation.
I've got the lingering and in service to Saint
I
Ara.
don't know what the lingering, I don't recall what the lingering is.
That was when I first encountered I think it was the which warden was it? It was the lion warden. And I was like that sunken place moment where I was like face to face with it and I saw its
That's right.
face.
So it's connected to the wardens. I'm going to give you an extra dark die as well. So you're going to
Okay.
roll two light, two dark.
Oh. Oh.
Jesus Christ. Three twos and a one.
Oh,
The die roller chose violence today. You can't re-roll either.
I
Um,
know.
the fifth chime, the fifth chime is chiming Cassian, and to make matters worse, you immediately the wailing starts just going out of control. Berwin has lost control of his entire corpus, and whatever void hellscape created Berwin, whatever happened in that ridiculous, terrible protoplasmic pit back in that town full of that clown town that you were all in at one time. I forget the name of it. Whatever malignant force holds Berwin together is unleashed. And it is so horrible to be in the immediate vicinity of it that it literally shatters the tortoise warden. They just like crumble and collapse. And all the tables and chairs on that side of the flesh wall begin to splinter. This sound is like waving and it's just like coming out in waves. let's pick up with the others for a bit. Torum, right before that, you and Gon, you caught up with Gon, and I'll remind you that Gon is this sort of hunched, sort of slightly reptilian fey man who walks around with a dragonfly lantern. Very helpful, good in a tight spot. And he just fucks off whenever he wants to, apparently. But you managed to find him again. And he beckons you closer. And he has his lantern hooded currently, enough where you can still see him, but like not towards giving off too much light. And he says, "Look there. Look." And you can see, skulking around behind a building, just barely inside the sort of ambient glow of subterranean fungal light, you see this massive, hulking reptilian beast. It's about the size of a cart. It's huge. And it's just like skulking around, sniffing, licking at fungus with its long forked tongue. It is a forgotten creature of the ancient world. I'd bet that its hide would fetch a fantastic sum.
It's a predator.
I couldn't say what its ecological inclinations are, but its rather sharp talons and its rather hulking figure makes me believe that regardless of what it chooses to eat on a regular basis, it would be rather difficult to deal with in a head-to-head fight.
Most
For
certainly.
most people, perhaps not you being as big as you are.
What is it you wish to gain by having me slay this beast, Gon?
I wish to gain nothing. I am merely a hired hand. I have found what I deem to be an incredibly valuable bit of fauna. It is merely my job to point things out. What do you
I
do?
think spurred by this, I would like to kind of observe this creature for a time and see if I can, identify a weakness or a vulnerability in its,
Regrettably, you feel that weird shifting, and then you hear this terrible wail of sound. It just like belts it out, like from the general direction of the orphan's villa. You can take a guess at who's responsible, I suppose, but it just kind of comes out in a wave. This, and the thing immediately whips its head around. It was facing away, and now it's not. What do you do?
freeze, try and just, if I move, it's gonna definitely spot me. If I freeze, there's a chance that if I'm in shadow or
It just so happens the hood over Gon's lantern slips and falls down to the ground. Oh, bother. And the thing is now rushing toward you. Gon is nowhere to be found. He gets away really quickly. What do you do?
I think the best way to receive a charging creature is by burning the spirit within it, using my burning voice ritual.
Fantastic. This will probably be to reduce its endurance, I guess. It is a pretty high endurance creature. It's like a 10. So, or actually, no, I said big as a cart, didn't I? It's like an 11. Let's go ahead and Ben. What could go wrong here?
Your other horn is going to get caught on this thing, and you're going to be just stuck on it.
It's terrible. Fantastic. That would also be a good devil's bargain. Let's keep going here. Do you have a skill that will help you, or a piece of equipment?
I mean, protection, speed, vigilance. Like, I'm
I'll take all
ready
that. Yeah, that's
for
all really
this
good.
thing.
Good. You
Yeah,
got
like
one light
I'm good
die.
at.
Amanda,
Yeah.
devil's bargain.
No matter what, something happens that benefits Gon and not you.
Fucking
Oh, I'm taking
gone.
that.
He's the worst one.
Taking that
I think
without a doubt.
he's joining the race for worst member of the party. um, Fantastic. Too light. You got to do a dark because of the ritual. Um,
Oh,
I
that's a
think
six
none of your
light.
conditions apply. You're good to go there.
Six
Although you
light.
are horned, but um, fantastic. You you will fully knock it down to a 9 endurance. Just go ahead and describe that. What does it look like?
Yeah, I think as Torm just doesn't waste a lot of time looking around for Garn. His head whips side to side as he realizes Garn is no longer there, and then he just kind of braces his body and lets out this bellow, and you can see the air shimmer between his mouth and this charging creature, and then there's just a kind of hint of flame coming from within, like this thing is burning on the inside.
I love it. It's thrashing around. There's actually a quick puff of smoke, and Gon is falling down atop the creature with weapon drawn. You get a single round of combat where Gon does not have to roll weak point. This is a combat 2. Go ahead and do it. You have one shot, basically, one clean shot at taking this thing out. You're looking
But
for
I need to
9.
roll a weak point, right?
You do.
My weak point
Yes.
is 1.
Okay, fantastic. Let's get a combat 2.
That's a 10.
Nice. Go ahead and describe how you and Gon together destroy this thing.
I think Garn falls onto it and kind of lands very nicely on its neck and is able to kind of steer it so that it becomes off target in its charge, and just its head crashes into the cave wall, and there's splintering of rock chips flying everywhere. And as that happens, Torum is able to sidestep and draw his sword and just like plunge it straight into the thing's exposed heart.
I haven't forgotten about the Devil's Bargain, but I do want you to go ahead and roll gold 9.
Mm-hmm. 1.
Nice. We'll pick up with this in a moment.
Skin wasn't quite as valuable as
Not
Garner,
quite as
I believe.
valuable. I mean, not nothing, but there might be more to it, though. We'll get to that in a bit. Alina, you're not aware of it. I don't think you hear the wail, Alina. You have felt these weird shifts. And as you're kind of basically what it is once you get to the other side, and the way you get to the other side is essentially someone from camp comes down to meet you and operates the machinery on that side, letting you get across. You and Osto are reunited, and you're going down first this like series of switchbacks that go deep into the earth, and then eventually into this really like tight collapsed portion of tunnel that very much like the classic 2005 horror movie The Descent, you're having to like very tightly maneuver through rock and stuff. And while
Yeah,
you're doing
Asta goes first.
yeah, and while you're doing all that, you feel this weird sensation, and Osto says, "Do you feel that?"
I do, darling. It seems like the ground is shifting, but not quite.
This place is, well, this place is not good. I have a bad feeling.
Well said, well said. Well, keep an eye out. Continue on.
I am perhaps a bit too large, especially in the upper torso area, to fit into some of these spaces.
Well, only someone as strong as you is going to be able to make it through here and lead me through.
He's like flexing his chest, and it's causing the rocks to move a little bit so he can slide through. He says,
See, just like that.
you eventually will get through this tight, collapsed corridor and then be able to work your way down into the streets of Old Kalduhr. Now, the tight corridor makes it so that it is a way back. It's not a fast way back. So if you needed to like escape really quickly, this is not the way to go. But it does get you down into the streets of Old Kalduhr. Now, you can't see much. First of all, I need light. Do you have torchlight or something, Alina?
Great question.
If not, you will have to pull something from your equipment to make it happen.
Um, no, I don't have light, and I don't have any equipment slots left.
Do the hirelings get anything like that? I can't remember. They just have their weapon and such. Let's see here. What do you got? Osto. What's gonna do you have one of the open slots you can use?
I don't have any slots left. No.
You have no slots left. Alina going down to Old Kalduhr
Oh,
completely
hold on.
unprepared.
No, shoot. No, I've got a dowsing rod. Well, I mean, I've got my rituals where I can use guide or ashes, so I can
Oh, that's good.
probably
Oh, I maybe using guide to
do
like
something.
yeah. I mean, I'm not sure like how far a guide's going to get you, but at least is providing a general direction that you can follow. It is a bit
Yeah.
slow going. There is a little bit of light as your eyes adjust because there are subterranean glowing like lichens and algae and fungus, that kind of give off a little bit of light. But you don't have a lot of, you can't see very far beyond you. I think the golden thread gives off a little bit of light, and then that light, you are pretty much operating with a pretty narrow, reduced vision, scope of vision
Yeah.
here. But you can tell that you are in the streets of a dusty city. You do have a set goal here, and the set goal is to travel between the locations of the first layer. And I will tell you that your options are essentially to travel between, like basically to try to get to where the rest of the party is. Alternatively, you can just go try to find another location to search. A lot of the places that you see are ruins. There's not much, like it's not immediately useful or helpful, but there might be places that are still that are plunderable, as it were. So, what do you think your plan is going to be?
I would like to use my guide ritual to conjure a thread to follow to somewhere where there's treasure.
Fantastic. That sounds good to me. Also, I will note here, I don't think I ever mentioned the set goal of the Orphan's Villa. Now would be a good time. I think the set goal is to find the administrative funds. Obviously, your characters don't know about that, but as players, we do. So, and it's a good 3 token spend, by the way. I'll tell you that. So, if you were to spend tokens for it. But let's go back to this. So, Cassian, you still have this bell ringer. Lotak is like yelling something at you, but you can't hear it. You can even see the bell ringer banging the bell, but you can't hear the bell. So you've at least got that going for you. What do you do?
I mean, I think the only thing that I can try and do is maybe aim at the arm holding the bell, see if I can't prevent it from ringing it again, if nothing else, and if it happens to kill it.
I think the thing is really no longer a danger. You can go ahead and just destroy it, describe it.
I think it's as simple as Cassian takes a moment to pay attention to how it's moving and how it's managing to avoid, and he fakes it out. And as it's dodging to the left, he meets it with the tip of his sword in that weak point under its mask.
It collapses down. Go ahead and roll a gold 7.
Nada.
Nothing. So sad. Berwin, there's really nothing left of the one you destroyed. But you can reform yourself if you wish, Berwin, at this point.
Yeah, I think I had become a wailing wall, and like my flesh had just sprung up every possible conceivable mouth, mouthed within mouths. Everything was just sort of screaming and crying out. And then finally, sort of like a rubber band when it snaps back, his body just sort of folds into itself. And for a moment, there's just sort of like a kind of like a mutter, like a gibbering pile of me before I'm able to sort of reform limbs and stand up on my feet again. And I'm clearly very disorientated, just like wobbly, can't sort of. I think the disorientation that my whale ritual imparts on other people is now sort of like infecting me, and I think he's just sort of like trying to get his bearings.
Yeah, like you're unstable or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moments before all of that, Alina, you and Osto will hear the whale. It's far away. It's a few, it's a few streets, blocks, down, but you'll hear it. What do you do?
Feel like that's probably either a place we do not want to go or we do not want to go alone.
Osto says, "Are you frightened?"
If I am, will you protect me?
"Oh yeah, I'll protect you."
You're so brave, Osto. I'm so glad you're here with me.
So this thread, he plucks it. Where's it taking us?
Not quite sure at the moment, but it should be taking us somewhere where we can, well, find something interesting.
I'm gonna let you do a hunt roll with 2 dice.
Ah, that's a 6.
Nice. And you get a token as
Finally.
well. Yeah. Take your token.
This is the first time I've gotten a token in like 2 sessions, I think.
Yeah. We'll get to where it leads you in a moment. Torum, are you going to take the time to skin this creature? If you do, it's worth 1 gold.
I think I have to go and investigate the sound, really.
Mm.
I can come back and skin the creature later. It's not going anywhere.
I'll
Unless
let
an
you know
even
that
bigger one comes along to eat it.
Gon says, "You go on ahead. Perhaps I'll deal with this."
Very well.
You can go back, Torum, to the orphan's villa. You can probably arrive in the central structure right as Berwin is reforming. Let's just have the scene with the 2 of you.
Oh, and I heard, I don't know how to describe it. It's everything in hand here.
And there's like 3 hands that form into one. He says, "Hands. Oh, yes. I think the ritual got away from me. Where is Cassian?"
Cassian, what are
Cassian.
you doing right now?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware I could hear that. I think
They're just in the next room over.
I'm going to take that bell, even if it's not worth anything, just because having that loose seems like a bad idea.
Sure.
And then going to walk out looking very unimpressed. What the hell was that?
Uh, Slight lapse in judgment.
Yes, you've alerted to everyone in the vicinity that we're here.
Oops. And I think that you like especially Kazian, since you've probably and Torum too, since Torum you've known Berwin for some time. Like he's usually a little bit more stoic in this form, like in this kind of like grotesque form. So the fact that he's like sort of like playful and giddy in this new form is like might be cause for concern. Um, yes, he's bell high. He's ritual high, I think actually. He's high on the magic. Uh, ah, that was invigorating.
The Rooster Warden is dead, and
So's the tortoise. There's no treasure or anything left of him, though.
I encountered another creature that was, well, I dealt with it.
Where's that little gnat of yours?
Standing guard over the corpse.
You trusted to stand guard over a corpse.
I think it wishes to skin the beast.
Oh, Torum, and he slaps his hand on your shoulder. You're as dull as you are brilliant, love. Come along. And
Before we
he
get
just
too,
sort of like, yeah, go on.
oh, go ahead now.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say he just sort of saunters out towards, and everyone just, the two of you would just sort of see how wobbly he is now, unstable he seems to be.
Before we get too far from it, because it was last session, I'll remind you, Cassian, about that office. There's also a footlocker at the end of the bed, as well as the wardrobe that the thing burst out of.
right, yeah, I checked in the desk in the
You found that that in a secret compartment, a message written in Old Kalduhr, and then you looked under the bed. There's nothing under the bed.
yeah, I'll go check out the wardrobe and the footlocker.
You could just do a hunt roll to encompass both.
I don't know if I have anything that really assists with that. No, okay, just one. That is, of course, it's a one. Should have seen it coming.
You lost 2 hunt tokens. Not great. Um, there's nothing in the wardrobe. You can low tech can help you figure that out. And then low tech makes a move. He says, "Well, I guess I'll check here," and he goes for the footlocker, and he immediately just like it's like locked, and he says, "Oh, damn it!" And he there's like a lock on the front, and he just begins like jiggling it, and then he's like, "Ah, damn!" And he pulls his hand back, and he has a little needle popped out of the lock and has struck his palm, and he immediately collapses to his knees. He says, "Ah, this it's injected me with some sort of poison." And he holds his hand up, and you can see like his blood spider webbing black on his palm radiating out from where the needle struck him. And he immediately starts yelling to like rifle through his pack because he has something that might be of help, but you have to help assist him with the antidote. He's kind of like explaining to you he's got all these little things, and you have to mix them in a certain way, and he's trying to like tell you how to mix them, but he's also like rapidly dying from the poison. Is there anything else you do?
I'm going to cut off his hand.
Fantastic.
I was just about to suggest that, but yeah, fantastic.
Low-Tech will not be happy. This is going to be a risk roll. I think it's pretty obvious what's going to happen if you fail. He will die. Do you have you have your, I think, cutting off things. You probably have plenty of things to cut things off with, so you can take a light die there. Anybody have an idea for Devil's Bargain?
I mean, I got to go with the Evil Dead 2 reference, right?
The hand comes alive.
Hand becomes sentient and terrorizes us.
Yeah,
Do you
the only
take
other
that,
thing
Cassie?
How could I not? Yeah.
How could you not? You don't have a dark die yet, so go ahead and roll 2 light.
A 4.
Yeah, it works. I think Lotak is like trying to like tell you grab this, grab that, and then he sees you with the knife, and he's like, what are you doing?
Hold still.
I,
He's going
I
to
need
just
that
stretch his arm
hand.
out. We'll get you a new one.
It's not that attractive of a hand anyway.
And um, he says, he says, but wait, you don't understand. And that's right when you, I guess, use like a sword or something. What do you use to cut it off with?
Yeah, the sword.
He's like, but you don't understand. And then chop. And you've seen a fair few number of severed limbs in your life and severed appendages. But this one is like flopping around and skittering around on the fingers like a chicken that's just had its head cut off, skittering around. And he says, and Lotak is screaming and crying and wailing, and he doesn't seem particularly surprised to see his hand crawling around. What do you do?
I'm going to focus on Lotak getting that wound bandaged up and covered, tied off.
The hand just like scuttles away into the dark. You can save Lotak. I think he's going to be he's going to lose some blood, and it's going to take a little bit to recover, but he's not dead. Berwin, Torum, what are the two of you doing right now?
Berwin is trying his best to hold back laughter.
That's right, you hate Lotak.
Yeah. And I think he mentions to Torums, I wonder what would happen if we cut off the rest of him.
Laura is already rushing into the office. She doesn't know what's going on, but she can hear, and she's quite distressed. Alina, your thread leads you to an interesting structure. There's a very large structure, a sort of bulbous dome building, and it sits on the edge of a gap. Like there's a huge, yawning, subterranean pit or crevasse, right? You don't have a lot of light that you're operating with, but you can at least see that much. Osto says, it looks like this building has some sort of entrance on the other side. It looks like yeah, there's a bridge that goes across the gap. We can only reach the bridge by going through this building. And then indeed you do notice that the gold thread is leading into the building. There's a crack in the wall that you can fit through. Maybe just you though, Alina. What do you do?
I think hmm. Is this crack do you think it could be opened further? Like Osto's pretty strong.
Yeah, he might have to spend some time cracking away at it, right? With his,
Okay.
I think he has
So
some
if I
sort
go
of,
in, there is a way that he could potentially follow. It just might take a little bit of
might
time.
might take him a minute, yeah, but you can
Yeah.
fit in there. He has to make a little bit more room for himself.
Okay. Do I see any movement or light or anything in there
Make a
through
hunt
the
roll.
crack? Do I have anything that'll help with this? Vigilance.
I'll take that.
3.
Osto says, I. He leans over you. You're like peering into the crack. I will tell you that there is light coming from the inside, so it is illuminated. Either someone's in there or there's some sort of perpetual light source inside. Osto says, Alina, I see something. Look. And you see over by this, on the edge of this like cliff, this big yawning gap, you see someone kneeling on the edge. And they seem to have their own internal glow because you can see them perfectly well despite the fact the light is quite low. They're on their knees and their hands are pressed together as if in prayer. This might be the first time you realize that you don't really feel the presence of the sisters down here. What do you do?
I think I say a little desperate prayer to the sisters, as many of them as I can say in a moment's breath. And I think I'm going to try and slip through the crack quietly so this figure, this person over there doesn't notice me.
Hmm.
Osto, I'm going in. I'm going to sneak away from the crack. Once you start banging on it or whatever it is you're going to do to break it bigger so that you can fit, I will try to stay out of your way and distract that whoever that is.
He says, well, they seem very focused on what they're doing. And then he says, wait, look, they're no longer there. And indeed, you no longer see this supplicant on the edge of the gap. They're gone.
Oh. Uh-oh.
I have a bad feeling about this, Alina.
Well, the thread is telling us to go this way. It's never led me astray before.
You go in. I'm going to stay here and do some squats.
Okay, but you are following after your squats, right?
Well, I just need to recenter myself.
Okay, because you are my bodyguard. That's what you're being paid to do.
Right. Yeah, I'll find a way in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna sneak through the crack. What I'm hoping is that I can kind of just keep on the side of the wall, keep down low, so that I can sort of skitter around and nobody will notice. We'll see if that works.
You are now inside a set. You've achieved the set goal of reaching a location. The set is called the Dwarven Baths. Entering through a crack in the wall, you come upon the foyer of a bathhouse. There is a large double door exit across the way. That's almost certainly the part that connects up to the bridge that lets you cross this big gap, right? This large double door has in the center of it what appears to be a strange, like, it's almost like a triple keyhole. 3 separate keyholes between the 2 doors in a triangular pattern. You can also see that this place connects up to 3 other large rooms. At a glance, all the rooms are lit, actually, with sort of, not torchlight, it's like these glass orbs that hang from the ceiling that are lit with various colored fires. But you can see at a glance in these other rooms that there are large pools inside them and richly mosaiced walls. These are baths. It's a bathhouse of some sort. And you do hear movement coming from those 3 rooms. You have a goal here. Unlock that door. Let's take a 5-minute break. So Cassian, well, the trap is sprung on the chest on the footlocker, if you want to crack into that. I assume you do.
Yes.
Inside the footlocker, Hold on, I'm having to bounce between two sets now. Well, you find a large sack of old Kalduri coins. These are the administrative funds, so that set goal is complete. It is worth 5 gold.
Don't mind if I do.
Perhaps most interestingly, though, you see at the bottom of the chest a black cube. The black cube appears to have a ruby embedded on the sides.
About how big is this?
About the size of your fist.
Yeah, I'll grab that.
You reach down to take it, and you realize it is impossibly heavy. You can't even you can barely, you can lift it, but it's such a huge burden to lift. For such a small thing, it's unbelievably heavy. It's like as heavy as a person. You can carry the black cube around, but only at the cost of discarding all of your other equipment.
What if I wrapped the black cube in the shrinking cloak?
Oh, intriguing. Intriguing. I think that is a possibility that it will work because of what the shrinking cloak does. I also think that it is dangerous because this thing is clearly magical and deals with space and time in a weird way, as does the cloak. So if you're willing to do a risk roll for it, you can try.
Yeah, things have been going so well for me thus far. Let's do it.
I think what could go wrong here is the cloak and this cube being in proximity to each other just fucking rips a hole in time and space, and that's not good. Do you have you have the cloak, so that's your first die. I'll take devil's bargains from the whole table this time.
I know this is too much, but tell me if it is. But no matter what, the cloak and the cube will sort of bind together to become an entity that you have to combat. But if you combat it and succeed, the cube will become a manageable weight.
That's good.
How would that work if I failed the risk roll?
Yeah, so I'm thinking if you succeed the risk roll, you have to do that. If you fail the risk roll, you have to do that, and you can't take the cube with you. And you lose the cube as well.
Yeah, the only devil's bargain I could think of was that the cloak shrinks so small it becomes a little black hole that causes a lot of problems, but that's also not something that works if you fail the roll.
I don't know. I was thinking along similar lines where it's like starts sucking other things into it as well. No matter
These are
what.
all bad. You can reject them, of course. You could just roll your one light die.
I'm intrigued by the idea of making this into a problem we have to fight. So I'll take that.
Intriguing indeed. Let's see how the die roll goes first. You've got 2 light dice.
A 4.
Fantastic. You will be able to succeed. You will be able to this will work. I think the problem, boy, oh boy, I have to really think now. I think what happens is as you unfurl the cloak to wrap it over the cube. I'll tell you a little bit more about the cube since you're lifting it and kind of presumably inspecting it as much as you're able. That the rubies are only on 5 sides of it. The 6th side has an empty notch. So you'll want to note that in your equipment whenever you get hold of it. But the problem, I think, is that You unfurl the cloak, and the cloak sort of like gets out of your hands, and it now appears to be being worn by someone. This person is translucent, and they're just standing there. And their features are a little bit nondescript. It's perhaps because of their translucence and their ephemeral nature, but also maybe it's just because this person has a fundamental blankness in their mien. And they're just standing there, and they reach out a hand toward the cube. And they have like a light in their eyes, a ruby light. And they lift the cube easily. And as they turn the cube, you feel a crushing weight, as if the impossible weight of the cube has been transferred to you somehow. Lotak, who's kind of going in and out of consciousness, and Laura, who is tending to him, you're all in the same room. And she says, Cassian, what's going on? Do you feel that? I feel something pressing down on me. Lotak begins to like gasp. And you feel it too, Cassian. Berwin and Torum, you're just in the next room. Do you respond to any of that?
Yeah, if I hear Laura call out,
Yeah.
I'll go after her.
You'll see this
Right, yeah, if I
apparition.
can hear.
Yeah, you'll see this apparition. You'll see it holding this black cube. And as soon as you go inside the room, you feel this like crushing weight. This is a combat. I need to know how everybody is vulnerable if you're participating. And I also need to know if you want Laura to participate.
No, not yet.
Very well.
My weak point is 4, and I'm vulnerable because I'm still sort of out of it, not constituted stably.
My weak point is 6, and I'm currently fighting gravity. So
Indeed. Torum, are you fighting?
Yes. I just lost
What's everyone attacking with?
my weak point is 6 as well.
It's classified as a cudgel, but I imagine it's more like a pseudopod that comes out of my body.
Okay, very good.
I'm attacking with a sword, masterwork longsword.
I'm going to use my sky metal glaive because
Oh, yeah. We haven't used that in a while yet. Yeah, it's good. Okay, let's get dice on the table. Let's see how it goes. This is going to be a combat 3. You only have to hit 6. So,
Rob, you should roll.
Are you sure about that?
No?
also, I can't remember, is Laura fighting or not?
No, she's not.
She's not.
So I rolled 2 6s and a 1.
2 6s and a 1. Fantastic. Cassian and Torum both have 6. You're both taking 2 ruin. Whether you defeat the thing depends quite a lot on how you narrate the combat. Cassian, what do you do?
So it's entirely transparent except for its eyes?
It appears to be translucent and ephemeral except for the cape and the cube.
I think if Torum and Berwin have their weapons out, Cassian's going to try and like get his arms around it to keep it from moving, keep the cloak around it so that we can actually hopefully see it and interact.
You grab the cloak and nothing else. The cloak slips off the thing. The cloak is just a cloak in your hands. It's still there. It's still holding the thing. And it responds by just twisting it, and you just feel crushing force. And that's where your ruin is coming from, Cassian. unless you're marking armor to reduce by 2 or to reduce the
I
2 rune.
am, yeah. His amulet of protection sparks and flares before it kind of ashes away.
Berwin, what do you do?
Seeing as how the cloak seems to have been removed, but the cube is still being held aloft, I think he's going to try and use his sort of pseudopod cudgel to slam down on the cube and try to like knock it out of its hand.
That's the right answer. That ultimately defeats it. But Torum, not before you are dealt a crushing blow as well, unless you mark armor.
Definitely going to mark armor because otherwise I'm at 5 ruin.
What happens to your armor?
Yeah, I think it's Torum's gauntlets, and they protect him from the worst of this crushing force. But we see the metal buckling and twisting as as his hands holding the blade as swinging toward this creature, this apparition.
Fantastic. You can get the cloak around the cube now, and it will shrink to fit and to be very small. It's almost like a pellet, the cloak and the cube in your hand. Could be an interesting tool of some sort, or maybe even a weapon, but for now, you can put them in your pack. Lotak is crying, holding a stump.
A lot of
What
help
was
you
that?
were.
What was that, Cassian?
I don't know. I found it at the bottom of the footlocker. Torm, lend me your torch. And I think Cassian's going to heat up the end of his sword, the blade of his sword, the flat of it, and approach Lotak. This is going to hurt quite a bit.
And we just hear Lotak scream. If there's anyone else in this orphan's villa, this is all probably going to get their attention, by the way.
I
I
think
feel
this
like
is going to
that
be
Berwin did that.
Well,
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
there's that.
you all made so much noise at this point. Yeah.
But I think that Berwin is going to use this as sort of a chance to flex his more sadistic side. And I think when he sees Kazian going towards Lotak in a very kind of matter-of-fact way with the hot blade, he, just as Lotak is about to scream, uh, Berwin will sort of inflate and try to like almost smother him to stifle the screaming, but not enough to
You
kill
put
him,
your body
obviously.
over him.
Yeah.
That's good. We'll just let that scene ride. I'm into it. Alina, there's this door. You can check it. It is locked. You have the set goal of unlocking that door. This door, when unlocked, it is the main entrance into the structure, and it connects up to a bridge on the other side of it. That bridge goes across this big gap that kind of divides the city. There are also these 3 rooms, these 3 baths. Each
And
of the
there's
rooms,
3 locks, right?
there's like, well, it's like a 3 holes, I guess, kind of
Yeah.
arranged in a triangular pattern. There are these 3 rooms. They each have a word in Old Kalduri above the door, and they each have a glowing globe hanging over them in a different color. One is a blue flame, one is a green flame, and one is a red flame. Osto you can hear Osto chipping away at the crack to try to get in. He says, I'm going to be a few more minutes.
And there's nobody else in this room, correct?
Not in
This is
the
just sort
room
of like a
you're in.
foyer.
Yeah. It's,
It's empty. There's nothing here.
go ahead and take a hunt roll
Yeah.
to look around more closely.
Yeah, I would definitely look around this room before I move into another room.
Yeah.
I still have vigilance, willpower. My background is an expelled apprentice, so I'm probably familiar with. I mean, baths are often very ritualistic, right? In
I'm
terms
into
of
that.
behavior
Yeah, I'll
and
take it.
such.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, it's good.
Something a little different.
Yeah.
3.
I think as you're looking around, you turn to see that you are faced with what appears to be, it wasn't there before, but now it's there, a very finely carved basalt statue of a very beautiful, nearly naked young man. The statue is standing there, and it's holding in its very finely rendered stone hands what appears to be an old, moldy towel, as if offering it to you. What do you do?
Oh, I beg your pardon for the intrusion. Does it move or respond in
It
any
does
way?
move, and it holds the towel closer, it presents the towel to you.
I very gently take this nasty ass towel and trying not to touch it too much, but trying to be look respectful. Why thank you. This will be just what I need for my bath purification ritual. You're very kind. Thank you so much.
And then it turns and it walks into the room with the red flame above it.
Well, I'm gonna stuff this moldy towel into my bag in case I need it for something.
Sure, add it to your equipment.
Yeah, I don't know. Might be useful. I'm gonna take a little last look at Osto to see how he's making out, and I suppose I will.
Almost there, just a few more minutes.
Well, I'm going to follow this, and I imagine when I look back, the thing is gone.
It's gone, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go into the room with the red light, so follow me when you get in.
Got it, red light.
And I'm gonna brace myself because I know this is a bad idea, and I'm gonna go into the room.
You go inside this room, and it's very hot. The steam-heavy air is nearly burning hot. The large pool, it's boiling. It's surrounded by a columned arcade where alcoves contain benches. Large brass pipes are mounted to the walls in complicated patterns. One of the alcoves has a mural depicting a sparkling red sun over a blackened landscape. On one wall, there's a sort of what appears to be a control panel of some sort. And you see the little stone statue youth who handed you a towel, like walking around the perimeter. And you see another one actually in the pool. And the one in the pool steps up the stairs, the water falling off its beautifully rendered stone body, and it reaches a hand as if to beckon you in, to guide you in. The water's boiling. What do you do?
Oh Lord. Okay. I think I was just putting my moldy towel into my found equipment, and I remembered that I still have a piece of rune from the millstone. It's not worth anything, but I think I'm going to take that and use it to jam it between, like, to keep the door open a little bit so some of this steam can escape and some of the colder air from the room I was just in can come in.
And that's the thing. It was a perfectly wide open door already. It's so
Oh,
hot in here that it's still.
oh no.
But interestingly, you didn't feel the heat in the foyer. Not until you walked inside the room were you really
Okay.
totally aware of it.
Um, I'm going to politely gesture to the statue that no, I'm just going to enjoy the steam outside the bath for the moment. Thank you.
It it goes back to what it was doing inside the water, which
I
appears to
think I
be
want to
just
take.
sort of waiting in it.
He's having a bath. I think I'm going to I mean, he's going to mind his own business. I'm going to mind mine, and I'm just going to kind of walk around the perimeter of the bath, and see. You said there's a big mural.
Yeah, there's several alcoves, and one of the alcoves, they all have benches, and in one of them
Yeah,
there's like a mosaic mural. But there's other alcoves as well.
yeah. I'll go. I'm going to go sit on the bench in the mosaic mural alcove and take a look at this mural.
Go ahead and make the hunt roll.
4. Yay, a token.
Take your token. Let me see what you might find. You sit down, looking up at the mural. You can see that this mural of the sun is actually made up of rubies, beautifully cut rubies. They would be fabulously valuable if you were to pluck them from the wall.
Oh, that's so tempting.
What do you do? You think on it.
Ah, yeah, I'm gonna think on it. 'Cause I think I need to leave them alone and check the other alcoves before I try and steal a ruby, because I imagine once I try and start, busting the mural up, these statues are gonna be
They're gonna
mad,
have
and
a
I'm gonna
problem
have
with
to run
that.
for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You think on it. While you're thinking, you hear Asta say, "Just a few more minutes. I've just about got it." Meanwhile, back in the administrative office, everything's sorted with Low-Tac. You've managed to smother his sound. He seemed to know that something was going to happen with his hand when you cut it off. He reacted a certain way before you cut it off, and then the hand crawled away into the darkness. What's everyone doing right now?
Release low tack from my body,
Hmm.
and I think at this point, like I'm starting to come to again, like starting to get my bearings. We continue onward. We have left Alina and Osto by themselves for quite some time.
Gone.
There's gone.
Where
Yeah.
did he get to?
He's watching your corpse.
And Lotak's hand.
No, we don't need to worry about that. I'm sure it's fine.
It crawled away on its own.
The roots are big. I'm sure it'll find something or someone to entertain itself with. We don't need to concern ourselves with low tax body parts. And he says that looking down at Laura, even though Laura can't see him doing
Assuming
it.
it is not stalking us.
A hand wandering off on its own is not normal, Berwin.
Low-Tac is still kind of whimpering. He's like, "What am I ever going to do? I'll never perform surgery again."
We'll get you a hand like mine. You'll be fine.
Laura says, "Fear not, Low-Tac. It gives you character to have such an injury. And think of it this way, you'll have a story to tell your children."
Yeah, that doesn't cause Berwin to grimace.
So
Where
we
did
have
Alina get to?
Well, we left Alina and Otto back at the mechanism to come in and out. Surely she wouldn't have gone off wandering somewhere.
we've
We should.
dispatched 4 of the wardens. Like
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And the central fountain had 7, well, 6, and a destroyed one.
we need to be on the lookout for at least 2 more wardens and their bells. It's getting stronger, the effect. You felt it, yes?
Yes, I'm still feeling it a bit.
Torum, are you still feeling it?
believe so.
Perhaps, Berwin, you have some sort of affinity to pits now.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, what is the plan? Torum, are you going to go fetch Gon? Are you all have there's two more rooms to search.
Well, perhaps we clear this villa out, and should we encounter any more wardens, well, we will dispatch them as we have done the other four, and we will reconvene with the others, and I'm sure Garn can take care of himself. I mean, he was able to get this far without any assistance, which is of some concern.
Perhaps he can translate this recipe, I believe. No, he'll hold out the parchment.
Perhaps.
I shall fetch him.
Torum, you can go to find Gon where you left him, which is just around the corner, basically. And when you get there, the lizard carcass is eviscerated. Like it's been torn apart, the rib cage has been ripped open, the guts are spread everywhere, the skin is shredded. And Gon says, "Oh, Torum, I thought I would help out and try to skin the creature, but it seems I've made a mess of it."
You have made a lot of progress, it seems.
Yes, I suppose I got a bit carried away.
Did you
We
find
should keep
anything?
our eye out for more creatures like this.
Did you find anything of value?
No, I did not.
Nevertheless, we have perhaps Cassian is wondering if you can help him with something.
Yes, I endeavor to be helpful in all things. Let us tarry back to the villa. And he goes back. We can fast forward to that, him looking at the recipe. And he will translate it for you completely. I will clip the text for you so you have it here.
Is Garn with us now?
He is with you now. Yep.
Garn,
Mm.
tell me, how is it that you know this tongue so fluently?
The Fey language and Old Kalduhr are very connected to one another,
I see.
linguistically speaking. Some say the Fey taught the cave dwellers who would become the ancient Kalduhr how to speak and write.
What do you make of it?
He looks at this page and he reads it out. It appears to be a formula of some sort. It reads, "The destabilizing unguent. Ingredients: henbane, unicorn hair fern, soldier's puppet, the undiluted excretions from the roots of the old oak tree." I have put
Something
that.
we can get
I
at a
put that
simple corner store.
I put that in chat for you.
Would Cassian, with his plants and beasts knowledge, recognize any of those as?
Henbane for sure. Soldier's puppet probably. The others are maybe could be like old names for things you might know, but and clear.
And are those, would Henbane and Soldier's Puppet be like readily available, kind of?
If you were to go back to the forest, you might be able to find some of those things, yeah. Lotak
Yes.
says, Laura has steeled my resolve. She is a blessing to this party. Shall we carry on?
You seem untroubled by the fact that your hand is operating without the rest of you.
Yes, yes, that. I have a confession to make. Everyone, I have a confession to make.
We are all ears.
Berwin rolls his eyes.
I am most grievously ashamed to admit that I am a fraud. I attended physical school, and while I gained no small amount of fame and notoriety for my incredible skill with the blending of potions and remedies and salves and unguents,
Get on with it.
I was never much of a surgeon. In fact, I was a rather poor surgeon. I didn't have the hands for it. But I would not be deterred. I sought the help, outside help, of an old crone. And like so many stories that involve old crones, there was an unfortunate twist. She used her magics to enchant my hands. She made my hands skillful in the arts of surgery. Not as skillful as I would have liked. I still only graduated third place in surgery school, but nevertheless, I was a surgeon of some skill. But of course, there came a price. My hands, she said, would eventually have to return to her. Now, I didn't realize this was going to be such a literal thing, but it seems that my hand has ran off home.
Well, that seems preferable to a hand skilled in surgery lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce on us.
Unless, he raises his hand, unless he has to go with his mate.
We could cut that off too. Wait, you
Berwin
said
raises
mate.
a good point.
Cassian, I'm quite certain I cannot deal with Berwin anymore.
And perhaps you should leave.
We need him. For
Do
now.
we?
I don't know anyone else who has attended any kind of physicking academy.
Yes, and I do have one good surgery hand left as well.
Yes.
Maybe
A
I
rather
could
lofty price.
borrow one of yours. Maybe one of the many appendages sprouting off your body would be of some use to me, Berwin.
Perhaps. I could at least say that none of my appendages are third place at physical school.
Laura
It's like
says, you have appendages sprouting off your body?
he kind of comes sheepish at that when she talks and like backs away.
We just need to not kill each other for long enough to find what we need and get out of here. I've managed to not kill any of you for months. You can stretch.
Haha.
You've seen it too.
The gang's all here except for Alina and Osto. So what are you all doing right now? Let's check in with Alina, though. Alina. Do you need a minute, Amanda? Alina, Osto's still trying to wedge his way through. What are you doing?
I'm not going to immediately take the rubies.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'm going to go look at the next alcove.
Hmm. Uh, make a hunt roll.
So what I'm hoping is I can sneak out on my way out and grab a ruby and nobody will notice.
Yeah.
But instead, I got a 1 on my hunt roll. So that's not really going to work out the way I wanted it.
How many tokens are you losing?
2.
2
I
tokens.
knew it. I was thinking to myself right before I started talking, oh, I should convert these to gold right now. But then I didn't say that. I said, oh, no, I'm going to the alcove.
You hear, as you're looking around, I will tell you, you can go over to the next alcove over, and I will tell you what you see. Um, Even though you got a 1, you'll still see some things. In the next alcove over, oh, you'll notice that there are several piles of brittle shards of bones on the benches and on the floor. Maybe not a great sign. You will then hear a loud roar from Osto. Ah! And then a sort of like cracking of stone and rock. The 2 bath attendants hear this and they get up, one splashing out of the water, and they immediately run out. And more bath attendants from the other 2 chambers come out and they go towards Osto. Osto says, Alina, I'm here, but I'm being assaulted by a number of beautiful young statue men. What should I do?
I'm going to yell out, fight them off! Fight them off!
He's going to be fighting them off.
Yeah. I mean, I am going to go out and help. But I mean, if I take a quick moment to grab a ruby.
I'll tell you what. Every round you let him fight by himself, you get 1 ruby. Let's take a 5-minute break. Let's take 5. I think he is vulnerable because of just being overwhelmed by these young, beautiful young statue men. They are dwarves in trophy parlance. His weak point, his weak point is 4. And I'm going to roll combat 1. If you're not joining the combat, Alina, you can take 1. You can pry 1 ruby out. The ruby's worth 2 gold, so not nothing.
Yeah. I was only going to do 1, but now if they're worth 2 gold, I might take 2. I might wait.
He got a 6, and so you can't see what's going on because you're busy prying rubies off, but you can hear the scuffle, right? Do you want to let him fight for a second round to try to and get a second ruby?
I think I yell out, Osto, are you still alive?
I'm holding my own, my lady.
Well, keep up the good work.
And
yeah, I'm going to go for a second ruby.
He'll roll combat 2. We need 12. A 2 and a 1. He still didn't get hit though. You got that second ruby. We'll come back to this in a moment.
That's probably brave enough, yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. He's still holding his own. Let's go back to the other group for a bit. Well, we're having a lot of interesting group dynamics going on right now. But I'm still no closer to knowing what you're all doing next. So, what is next?
The 2 doors off of the main room they haven't been in. One of them's a kitchen.
There's the north and the east. Yeah. You looked into them. I think you looked into them, but you now have a free run of the place now. So I'll just tell, or at least the central part. So I'll tell you what you see in those rooms. One is a kitchen. One is an office, and One obviously goes like leaves the place. And then we have one appears to be like a barracks, like there's like beds and stuff for the kids, presumably.
I'm going to check out the kitchen.
Kitchen's in the east door. Berwin, what are you doing?
Um, I'll check out the kitchen with him as well. Unless you said there's another room, right?
There's the barracks room. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check the barracks actually.
Okay. Unless you all tell me otherwise, I assume your hirelings always go with you. Torum, what are you doing?
Company Cassian.
Into the kitchens.
Mm.
So, at a glance in the kitchen, there are several large food preparation islands flanked by a scullery pit and a cooking hearth. Obviously, it's all dusty and cold. There's also what appears to be a little door on one wall, maybe like a pantry or of some sort. That door is closed. What do you do, Cassian?
With my sword ready, I think I'm going to approach that pantry door.
Make a 2-die hunt roll.
Got surprised by leaving a closed door closed before.
Yeah.
Not going to fall for that again. A light 6.
Nice. Take your
6.
token. You can open the door, and the door actually goes, it leads immediately to a pair of stairs that go down into, not far, just like one flight down into some kind of little room or space.
Could be a cellar down there. I'll go take a look.
As you get to the bottom of the steps, in the little bit of ambient light coming from the top, assuming what Torm's torch is in the kitchen, you'll see there are shelves with like what appear to be jars and things on the walls, right? So it is a larder of some sort. But in the darkness of that space, you'll also hear what do you do?
I found the pig.
Do you say it out loud like that?
Yep.
Torm, what are you doing? You're muted.
Looking around the kitchen itself until I hear Cassian say that. And
You can
at
do
which point-
you can do a hunt roll first before you hear that.
Mhm. Does vigilance give me an extra die?
No, I feel like that's if you're just looking around, I don't think vigilance is really the right thing in this situation.
Oh, I got a 6.
Nice. Take your token. Let's see what you might find here. You don't really, at a glance, as much time as you have, you don't really see anything of use. It's mostly just a bunch of rusted cookware and pots and things and old, very withered, like fire kindling and wood and maybe like some ash spread about. You got your token though. And then you hear Cassian. Do you then rush down the stairs?
I don't know about rush, but I'll go down and see what he means by pig.
Cassian, you're down there in the cellar with the other warden. It's not a very big space down here, and the warden he's kind of fumbling for his bell, but you can engage him in combat to deal with him. Do you?
Yes, gonna try and keep him from ringing.
Indeed. This is going to be. Tell me how you're weak, how you're vulnerable, and roll weak point.
It's a narrow space and my weapons are long, so
Indeed. Yeah.
weak point of 5.
Do you want Lotak to help?
I feel like he might be more of a hindrance at this moment.
What about Gon? Do you want to send Gon in there, Torum? You're muted again.
He can come down with me.
There's a flash of smoke, and Gon is in there already trying to grab the hand of the warden so it can't ring the bell. Gone, you get 1 round with Gone without him having to roll a weak point. You need 7. Combat 2.
Combat 2. That's a 3.
What was your weak point?
5.
The bell doesn't get rung, at least. Gone is holding the thing's hand, and he's looking over its shoulder or kind of under its arm because he's small, and he says, "If you could handle this quickly, that would be ideal."
I'm working on it. And I think he had tried to stab it just like he had the rooster, but it's moving around and he caught the armor instead.
Berwin, you're in the barracks, yes?
That I am.
The barracks is comprised of rows of simple wooden bed frames, and there are small footlockers at the end of each bed. You will see straight away the bull warden is patrolling the room. And it's sort of walking around. This silly cartoon bull helmet. What do you do?
I look to Laura and say, "My lady, if you don't mind, a light." And I'm going to ask her to light my torch, which is just like my paraffin hand.
Nice, yeah.
And just to use her Kindle ritual to light my hand on fire.
She does, yeah.
Which I'll form into my cudgel. So I've got a flaming cudgel now.
Oh, nice, good.
And yeah, I'm going to engage.
Do you want her to fight too? Is the Kindle magic like part of her helping?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I'll roll a weak point for her. She's vulnerable because, well, we're gonna say because she's blind for now. She got a 6.
I got a 3.
A 3. This is a combat 2. Go ahead and roll it.
Oh, 6. 3 though.
2 threes.
Two
Not
threes.
great.
Yeah.
Not great. Before you even hear the ding of the bell, you all feel that sinking sensation. The room shifts. Alina, you feel it too. The 6th bell has been rung. Let's have another round. Torum, you might actually not be able to even join the fight because the pantry is quite small unless you have a particularly long, pointy weapon.
I do have a sky metal glaive as well as
That'll work. Yeah,
a
you can use
sword.
that. Yeah, you can use that to kind of get into the small space. If you wish to join the fight, that turns it into a combat 5. Or no, it was a 2, 3. Oh, it's 4. Combat 4. Yeah, you can go ahead and roll it if you want, Torum. Or actually, roll weak point 2.
Weak point 1.
Mm.
Vulnerable, I guess, because if this thing tries to get out of the pantry, it's going to have to go through me to do it.
Indeed. Let's get a combat 4.
4.
Looking for 7 on 2 dice.
I got an 8 on 2 dice.
And 3 2s and a 6. What are our weak points right now?
Mine was 5.
And
And a 1 for Torm. So
Mine was 1.
yeah.
Did Gun roll 1?
Oh, I didn't roll one for Gon this round. I got to roll one for him this round. Hold on. It better not be a 2 or a 6. It's a 4. Fantastic. Please describe, Cassian, please describe the start of the combat.
Cassian's going to pivot from trying to stab it through the neck since Torm has the long glaive, and I think he's going to shout at Gon to release the hand, and he's going to drive the sword right through the wrist and pin it to the wall.
Nice. Torm, you can finish it off.
Yeah, and I think once it's pinned like that, it's Cassian will turn aside, leaving his sword buried in the wall with this with this thing's hand pinned to the wall, and Torum just pins its chest to the other wall.
It twitches and stops moving. And before we forget, Cassian, go ahead and roll gold 7.
2.
Probability wise, that's very good. That's the bell and the helmet. They're in good shape still. You can divide those up however you wish. Let's check in on Alina. Alina, a third. Wait, how many combat rounds have you done now with?
I have 2 rubies now.
You have 2 rubies now. Do you want a third ruby? He's still hanging in there, and he gets 3 dice this time.
He gets 3 dice this time. I mean, I hired him to do the fighting for me, so really, he's just doing what we expect.
Indeed, indeed. Let's go for a combat 3. Let's see what we got. I forgot what his weak point is, though. Who can remind me?
I think it was 6.
Oh, his weak point's 6? Wow. It is 6. Wow, okay.
Yeah, not awesome, but
Not great. Wait, no, I rolled a 4 for
the 4 was
Gone.
for Gone.
I do have a 6 on here. Was that not for
Oh, that was
Laura?
Gone's other one.
I think that was for Laura.
Or was that Laura?
That was Laura. 4.
Oh, it might have been
4.
4.
It's 4. It's 4.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. No 4s. And a 6, a 4, and a 3. So he does not destroy them. You do hear him scream out, "Ah! It's trying to put its beautifully svelte arm into my mouth." You have a third ruby. You've pried off the wall, and his ruin goes up by 1. His ruin is now.
He does have I guess that's up to you if you use it, right?
Does he have
does
armor?
Armor. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the scale mail. What's his current ruins? Current ruins 3. No, I'll
3.
take that hit, especially because he's just being deep throated by this slender statue arm right now.
I mean, there are worse ways to go.
There are worse ways to go, I suppose. Do you want to let him go another round? He does have armor. 4th round
I
would be
also
that'd
want
be
to
8
look
gold.
in this room. I want to look in this room for like a key for the keyhole.
True.
There's 3 holes and there's 3 rooms.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna check the last alcove.
Mm-hmm. At a glance, it's empty.
Oh, dang it. Okay, I want to look around the room for the key and let him fight.
Go ahead and do another hunt roll.
I feel like I got to figure out something to give myself a little advantage here. Spirits, vigilance, willpower. I think I'm going to lean on willpower here, actually, because he's screaming and fighting in the other room.
So you have to be like, no, stick to the mission.
I gotta focus. Yeah.
Go ahead, 2 dice.
3.
This is not good. Here's how it's not good. You're walking around the room. You see something glimmer at the bottom of the boiling pool. And maybe that's the key, maybe that's treasure, who knows? I think that's good enough for now. Whatever you might be looking for is down at the bottom of the boiling pool.
Damn it.
Let's go another round. You've earned another round with him. He's now at a combat 4. Looking for no 4s, no 4s. Oh, no 4s, and he wins.
I knew he could do it. Full faith.
with
I only hire the best.
2 6s. We'll come back to this in a bit. I'm going to pick up with Berwyn. Berwyn, did you destroy yours yet? Not yet.
Not yet. So I've got to roll combat 3.
Combat 3. Let's see what you got.
So for starters, because I did hit my weak point last time, I'm gonna mark my amulet of protection, and I think that
The
the
bell rung. You don't take any ruin.
oh, okay, got it, got it.
Yeah, yeah. You don't
All
take
right,
any ruin when these hit you.
all right.
Just the bell, the ring. The bell rings, and that's it.
Oh, what is it showing up for you guys?
I got a. Oh, I see a 6, a 5, and a 4.
Oh, well, that does it, right?
It does indeed. What was your weak point?
3,
And hers was
4.
6.
Oh no,
Which
hers, yeah, hers are 6. Asta's was 4.
you ring the bell. The bell is rung. The 7th chime tolls. Bung. You all feel a dropping sensation. A whoosh. You all, no matter what you're doing, you feel like you're falling backwards. Cassian, just as you're putting away the bell, and Torum, you're putting away the helmet. Berwin, you are burning the life out of this thing, but it still manages to ring the bell. Alina, you're pondering whether to dive into the pool right as you see Osto walk into the room carrying a few slender, delicate stone limbs in his arms. And you all just feel this sinking sensation, this falling sensation. That whole scene, whatever scene you're in, is falling away from you and it's becoming pinprick small in the darkness. And then you all wake up. Or you don't wake up, you just are suddenly aware that you're somewhere different. All 8 of you are currently on a shelf of rock a little ways up the wall of the orphan pit. Your goal is to escape the orphan pit. I will remind you, bad children get the pit. You materialize on a rocky ledge jutting from the walls of an enormous cylindrical pit. There is only the faintest sliver of light coming from somewhere high above. The sounds of hundreds of children laughing, crying, and singing can be heard from the darkness below. What do you all do?
Well, before we get too deep into that, does Laura take damage because she hit her weak point?
No,
Or
the bell got
okay,
rung.
got it, got it. Um, cool.
Let's just have the scene. You're all in this pit. You can't, until you train your light on it, you can't see what's going on below you. You just hear these kids. You're in this pit. The walls are, it's very, very, very high up. You can see some light coming from above.
Saint Dara, where are we?
Alina?
Yes. Who else would it be?
Barwin, what's going on?
Uh, My lady, I do believe we are in peril. Do stay close to the wall that you are now gripping. Alina,
Yes.
how? Where? Why?
I'm not sure. I was in these baths, and all of a sudden I'm here. What have you done? What did you do?
Who rang a bell?
It was, well, you see, there was one with a bull mask.
Found the bull.
We found the
Bull!
pig.
Alita has no idea what you're talking about.
We prevented the pig's bell from ringing.
Like, I mean, I tried to prevent the bull ring. Things just sort of got carried away.
Okay, but
Am I?
what is all this noise?
Cassian's gonna drop his lit torch just to see how far down it goes.
Not too far. Not so far that you can't see the metastasis. The metastasis. Hundreds of children grafted together in a titanic, abominable mass. They sing and cry. You can see some of them. You can see some of them like two children grafted into this big gestalt, and they're kind of like playing patty cake with their little twisted limbs. And they can't quite speak properly because their mouths are just a bit of like flesh kind of exposed, but they're like patty cake, patty cake, and you see a couple of other children clawing at each other, clawing for something, a rock or something. That's mine, give that back. And there's like squelching as they try to reach for each other. And there's a few more that are kind of twisted up in there singing. And it's just a massive, nasty, fleshy pit. Not entirely unlike what birthed Berwyn, but nevertheless, here we are. At a certain point, one of the children's upper torsos, the upper torso of an orphan, manages to rip itself from the metastasis and begins crawling up the wall, shrieking, "Mine, mine, mine!" And it's crawling rapidly, its entrails trailing out behind it, up towards your ledge of shelf, your shelf ledge. Cassian, what do you do?
I have a mallet, and I'm going to try and drop it onto this thing's face as it's climbing up.
One is no trouble. Erase your mallet, and it smacks into it, and it falls down. And as it's falling down and scrabbling down, it goes, "No fair!" But then others are aware of you, and the children begin reaching and clamoring, and a number of them do manage to tear themselves off of the metastasis and begin. You can hear the ripping of the flesh and the tendons and the bone, and now there are quite a number of them crawling up the wall to reach you. 3 hunt tokens get you out of here.
John, is there any way back up out of this pit?
God is already crawling out. He can climb walls. He's already halfway up.
Of course.
He says, "Fear not, I shall drop down a rope." And he's like climbing up to get to the exit.
Hurry.
Well, I've got one token. Torm, it looks like you've got two, and Kazian, you've got one. Do you want to make this easy? Do we make this hard?
I'm gonna get Lotak up.
Yeah, how can he climb a rope?
On Torm's back.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or on Berwyn's. Dramatic irony.
Spend the tokens and you get out free and clear.
But there's got to be something in here worth being here for, right?
I'm down to clown if you are, but I mean I can turn into a rope myself, so I'm not too worried about me.
I mean, we can opt to spend the tokens
If it
things
starts
start
going
going bad,
badly,
right?
Oh, sure,
Okay.
sure, of course, of course.
Mm.
First problem, you've got these swarmers trying to climb the wall, and you can already tell they're trying to grab you and pull you down into the flesh pit, into the metastasis. What do you all do?
Are they actively going towards anything in particular, like Kazian because he's brightly lit, or
Maybe, yeah, that's possible. It's combat in any case, to fend them off.
I might be able to use my burning voice again to burn some of them down off of the
That's true. That's true.
off the
Actually, I,
cliff.
I like that as like a to try to do that before the combat. I think that's a great
Hmm.
idea.
That's what I'm
Could I
thinking. Yeah.
also do a ritual then, if that's the case?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Um, I think seeing the moths fluttering around Cassian, Berwin would want to take one, like snatch one out of the air and cast Feral on it
Oh.
to turn it into Mothra and stick it on the children.
Nice, good. I love it. That's great.
Or in worst case scenario, use it to fly up.
I'm into that. What are you doing in the meantime, Alina?
Well, since we already have two rituals on the go, I think I'm just going to take my knife and just start hacking at any hands or limbs that start to come up over the edge.
That feels like a good help roll for either of the other two roles, I think. Cassian, what are you gonna do?
I have a bit of a weirder idea. What if I put on the warden's helmet and wield the bell? Can I try and maybe like intimidate them? Maybe they don't want to.
Oh, that's pretty interesting
Give them
too. Yeah,
pause.
that sounds like a good help as well because I think
Mm.
Torum's idea of like using what is it, you're using your ritual Torum? What is it?
Yeah, the burning voice
The
ritual.
burning voice, and Berwin's like trying to send feral moths down upon them. Um, I feel like I'm gonna. I think the three of you who are not Torum are basically doing help rolls for Torum. I think that's the way, just in your particular ways to try to like keep this increasing swarm from reaching you. I think what could go wrong here, since you're all kind of exposed, is you all get dragged down into the metastasis, and that's not great if this fails. Um, Torum, do you have a piece of equipment that will help you to get that first light die?
Mm.
Or a skill?
Beyond, yeah, beyond having a torch that helps me see where they are.
Or maybe the torch is like a focus for the burning voice?
Protection,
Yeah.
because I'm protecting us from them
Oh, I
getting
like
to
that
us.
too. That's pretty good too. Yeah. So you got one light die. Um, I'll offer the devil's bargain. Torum, no matter what, Gon sees something from his vantage point that makes him want to stay.
I'll take that, absolutely.
Two light dice and one dark die. Let's see if you need the help, you can get it from the others. But for now, let's just see what you get.
Dark.
That's a three dark. It would be a fail. Berwin, any of you can throw in with your help die if anybody wants to roll it. Berwin, you kind of I like your plan if you want to go
Yeah.
first. Just roll a single help. There we
Don't know
go.
what that is because my browser's not acting right.
It was a six. Six. So
Okay,
you're
cool.
you're good. You can all kind of in the fiction help. So basically, what this is going to look like is we're going to narrate the defense of the ledge, which will buy you some time to figure out how to get out of here. I'll set the scene for you again. All these horrible noises coming up from the metastasis, this fusion of hundreds of orphan bodies. A number of them are ripping off of the metastasis. They're just torsos crawling up the wall, trying to reach you. Some of them do get far enough, and you can tell what they're trying to do is pull you down. Cassian, let's have the start of it. What do you do?
Cassian's going to, yeah, he'll pull that helmet on and pull out the bell and try and see if it makes them hesitate. If they're so traumatized by the bell, maybe it's enough. So he's just leaning over as far as he dares. Says, "Don't come any closer."
And that does keep some of them at bay, right? Alina, what are you doing?
I am when any of them that make it past Berwin, I'm just hacking at their hands or limbs or bits or appendages as they climb up, trying to kick them back down.
Fantastic. Torum, you begin your ritual. You do your ritual. What does it look like?
Yeah, I think in combination with Bowen, maybe if Bowen's throwing these or dropping these like moths down, and I'm picturing Torum unleashes this shout, and the air shimmers with heat as before, and some of the moths are burning and falling as little burning lumps onto the climbers, and the climbers themselves are catching fire. And
Yeah, Berwin, give us your bit. What's happening?
Yeah. I think before that happens, he notices Kazian is trying to struggling to ring the bell and keep them at bay. Some of them are continuing to come though. He notices the moths fluttering, and so he just sort of swats a handful into his hand, and he opens his palm and he just sprays out from his mouth this vomit of orange fungus, and then he releases them out, and as he releases them they immediately start to bubble and burst to the size of like rottweilers, and they start to swarm, and as Torum sends out this blazing spitfire, they flutter through and their wings are on fire, and they start to pick up some of the kids, throwing them back down into the pit and swarming down
I'll
upon them.
speak for the hirelings too. Like I think at one point you glance out of the corner of your eye. There's a couple of swarmers like on Osto. He's got them hanging from his muscles, right? These little like kids, and they're like, and they seem to be like. They seem to be they're like one of them's like, don't you want to play with me, and the other one's like laughing, we'll have so much fun together, and he's like shaking them, and then he just goes ah, and he like smashes them together, and just pulps them, right? And they slide in a goop down. One of them gets hold of Laura, and she just sends up a cry to Saint Ara, give me your power, help me cleanse this terrible place. And she brings her hand down, and the thing just catches on fire and just goes like swirling down in a ball of fire. Lotak is not even completely useless in this situation. As a swarmer gets near him, he pulls out a hypodermic and plunges it into the thing's neck, and it just like twitches and dies. And most helpful of all, Gon drops down a rope from the exit. A rope falls down. Osto says, Alina, to me! And he grabs you and you can climb his back, and he begins going up using his powerful upper body strength to quickly ascend the rope. I assume everyone else is going up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we end our session with all of you climbing up, the singing and laughing and screaming and cajoling down below, echoing up through this cylindrical pit. And we see you all climbing up. Lotak is holding on to Cassian. Laura's holding on to Berwin. And Gon is climbing down the wall back into the pit. And from there, we'll go to stars and wishes.
I don't know about this Gon guy, man. It seems a little shifty.
yeah, I want my first stars for Khan. I really enjoy that. He's he's very kind of my picture of him when I came up with that NPC was he's very kind of Jim Henson, Dark Crystal, Labyrinth type of thing, and yeah, he's living up to it. He's great. I'm enjoying what Jason's doing with him, and yeah, I loved Alina hanging around to pry rubies out of the wall when she could have been helping Oster. Good, he deserves it. Um, yeah, I don't know, lots of fun, but I'm struggling to think of individual moments off the top of my head. I wasn't taking notes.
Yeah, this one was very action packed. There was a lot happening. Um, I liked that Alina had no idea what was going on because I missed the last session and I had no idea what's going on. So that worked out really well. I could learn what was happening through narrative. So that was fun. I really liked Jack, your devil's bargain for the Evil Dead hand. That was delightful. That's so fun. Gotta love a dismembered body part with a mind of its own. And then the whole idea with the hand looking for its other hand and how that's going to be a problem. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a wish for sure. Um, yeah, this was just really action packed. The hirelings are hilarious. I love them all. They're just, I mean, they're all very, very different kinds of people, and none of them are terribly helpful. Uh, but I mean, Osto fought off all of those statues. So
Gon was
he
very
was,
helpful in a couple of fights. Like in a
yeah,
pinch, he was there. Yeah,
yeah,
he kind of provoked one of the fights, but you know.
and he's probably going to get us into more trouble right away. But I mean, we got a rope, so I feel like we're doing really good. I would like to give anti-stars to the dice roller, uh, for being extra mean today. I appreciate that token I got right off the bat, and I thought, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be one of those good days. And no, it was not. It was rough. Um, which is, how it is. That's what you want from. There's no point in being in the old Kalduhr, ruins without having it be just nonsense, terrible. Um, yeah, good point. Ben just put in chat that it ate 4 tokens today, and hopefully it's been appeased. Hopefully, we'll see. Yeah, this has just been a lot of fun. It was really fun again to see Torum, because I wasn't at the last session, and Rob, you weren't at the one before, so it's nice to have you back, Rob. And I still can't believe Cassian hasn't killed us all, because honestly, you probably, if Cassian was by himself, he'd probably have this all mapped out by now. Or not, he might not have been able to cross the initial lake, so we are useful somehow.
Yeah, he'll just kill us once we're on the other side.
Yeah.
Which, uh, at this point, well deserved. We've been asking for it. The fact that he hasn't just found a whole new group of people to tolerate speaks to, I guess, his dedication to us, his love for us, really, if we're being honest. Because deep down, I think he really does love us all, and that's my star. Love. Other stars.
The real Kalduhr was the friends that we made along the way.
Exactly. It was the limbs we lost along the way. Yeah, no, fun times. To the comment about earlier about from Jason about we know what these dynamics are, but what are you doing? Uh, I think this is a good kind of balance between like the sort of like dungeon crawly OSR sort of stuff and also like still having those moments of like inner like character interplay. So I think it's a good balance, and I'm enjoying that part a lot. Um, Individually, I love that Alina was, I mean, she did pay him to fight for her. He is a bodyguard, and so definitely leaning into that um, was nothing short of what I expected. And hell, you got what, 6 gold out of it, 4 gold, something
I got
crazy.
3 rubies, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 gold. So she's balling. That's good for her. Um, Good to have Torum back. And yeah, he's gonna get us in so much shit with Gon. Like I feel like Gon's the big bad that we're not that we have suspicions of, but like Torum is the one who's just gonna like I know it's fine. Like my terrible child is fine. It's very kind of like one of those permissive parents who lets their kid call them by their first name and like lets them run around the supermarket, just trashing shit and like just tells them to stop that. That's not nice. Um, so yeah, that's a wish too, is for that to come to a head. And yeah, Kazian being the party dad, and I love the I love that you cut off Lotek's hand because Berwin was going to suggest that in character, and like in my head, I thought like him suggesting that would be too gruesome, and like Cassian would be like, no, no, we don't need to do that. But no, you took it there, and I'm so appreciative for it. Even if it makes him even more sympathetic towards Laura, um, which deal with when the time comes. If I have to push him off a cliff, I will. Um, and yeah, Jason, fucking the patty cake flesh pit. Uh, in chat I called it the daycare from society because it really is. It's
That's a perfect way of putting it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just a bunch of pre-K children shunting and
Freaking shunting.
it's
I called
wonderful.
it John Carpenter's kindergarten, but I think the daycare from society is better.
Yeah, it's terrifying and gross, and like the visual of them like separating, like their entrails falling out to just climb up and get us because they just want to play. It's just like it's it's very tonally different from like the very kind of like from soft bosses that we've fought so far, which I liked. Like it's much more like, ooh, this is really gnarly.
It's not
Uh,
unlike the in Demon Souls, though, the underground lake priestess with her little fetus
yeah, yeah. I mean,
swarm,
or
you
like
know?
the
Yeah.
the like the one we reborn from Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's definitely got that vibe. But like I think the way that you played it was a lot more like there was a bit more camp to it than like a Dark Souls game.
Oh yeah.
There was a bit of levity to it in a weird way. But yeah, those are my stars and wishes. I don't want to keep everybody.
I'll go. I really love the hirelings. I love the interactions between them and the group. Gon is great, and I hope he sticks around. Even if perhaps he's no longer a hireling of ours, I want him to be around. Jack, when uh, Laura asked about your protuberance or your protruding limbs, whatever it was, the little moment of Berwin feeling bashful and embarrassed about it was that was cute. I like the dynamic between Laura and Berwin and Lotak. Alina leaving Osto to deal with the problem and uh, just go for the rubies. That was great. That was perfect. That was exactly what the sisters would want you to do. And also, yeah, the moment of you're on the cliff with or this ledge with everyone else, no idea what's going on. That was brilliantly played, and I look forward to Alina's coming to grips with everything that we explain to her because it's going to sound just absolutely bonkers. Torum not rushing down the stairs into the larder, just that moment of like the audible sigh that I heard uh, from Torum having to come and clean up another mess because he's the big guy was so good. And yeah, the metastasis awful, awful. I was really hoping to avoid it this time, but this was so much worse than the last time I was there because you went into a lot more detail, and yep, that was great. Looking forward to seeing what Gon found so interesting that he didn't just abandon us to our fates.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Gon is clearly looking for something, right? Like he was looking for something inside that lizard. He brought Torum to the lizard. He said, "Keep an eye out for more of those." Like he's clearly like got some other ulterior motive, and I find that fascinating. Yeah, star for the cutting off the hand moment that was really dramatic and good, and it was a strength of the system shining because like it kind of shows how like I don't know, like the Devil's Bargain and stuff, like led to some cool like results there. Like it was all just really neat. I just star for that whole scene for everybody. It was really really good. Star for I really love the dynamic between Osto and Alina, and I could watch the Osto and Alina show. Like that was really really fun, and it was like it was such a funny moment, right? Like it was like this humor in the middle of this horror, which I thought was really great. Um, and I was just having a lot of fun with it too. I was in general having a lot of fun with these. I love these four hirelings. They're very fun to play, and I'm enjoying continuing to develop them as characters. Um, Star for the whaling thing. I thought that was really fun, even though it was a failed die roll. I thought it led to some really cool stuff, and so it was a bold, it was a big swing and a bit of a miss, but it was a good swing nonetheless. I also continue to enjoy the dynamic between Lotak and Laura and Berwin. Like Lotak and Berwin are constantly giving it to each other, and that's just always really fun to play. They're always looking for opportunities to throw the other one under the bus, which I think is really fun. Um, yeah, and Starver, I continue to love like last time Rob we called Torum a face simp, and I continue to enjoy the face simp like Torum of Torum. So like she lets the Fae get away
That's
with whatever. Like yeah. So that was all very very fun. Yeah, this is really great. Despite the fact that it's a dungeon crawl, it feels like a very characterful dungeon crawl, so that's very enjoyable. Yeah, just a good time all around. And I also, yeah, star as well for the ruby thing. Like I was really pleased. I was curious how far you'd go with it. Like how many rubies are you gonna go for? But anyway, I think that's all I've got though. Any other stars or wishes? Fantastic. Well, I'm gonna wave goodbye to folks watching the video.